Welcome back to the Birdhouse Dynasty show. Today's show is going to wrap up our final thoughts on the 2023 season with the Super Bowl, as well as transition into the new 2024 season. So, checking back on the Super Bowl a couple nights ago, well, I don't think, at least I wasn't surprised that Mahomes outlasted Purdy in the end. I was telling everybody all week pretty much that either the Niners had to blow them out or the Chiefs would win in a close one. And sure enough, the Niners didn't put them away in the first half, and Mahomes pulled it out in the end. I don't think anybody was actually shocked that that happened. But as far as Super Bowls go, my homeboys and I have a little tradition that's called the Crackhead League, and it helps give us a little perspective on where people's thoughts are on some of the players and their values in the upcoming season. Even though it's just a simple 10-team redraft league, we make it fun. We take our phones and throw them in the basket when we show up. We get a simple sheet of paper like this with our 10 lines for our starters and 6 spots for the bench, and then a list of the 32 teams on the bottom. And that's it. No cheat sheets, no phones, all right off the top of your head. So that means that we have no idea where the rookies are going. We have no idea where the free agents are going. It makes for a lot of fun, and I'm just really glad to be a part of it. So just a few thoughts on that is, first of all, where some of the rookies went. Again, it was a 10-team redraft. And this year we spiced it up by making it SuperFlex as well. So the quarterbacks definitely went higher, pushed the running backs and wide receivers down the board. And to start off with, Marvin Harrison, he went in the 5th round. To me, actually, I did really want to grab him. He was kind of in the cluster of receivers that I found after wide receiver 7 or 8, like where Garrett Wilson got taken. It was kind of a cluster where I'd say any of the receivers that got picked in rounds 3 through 6 all are pretty much jumbled in. You could, for instance, Michael Pittman went in the 3rd, Keenan Allen went in the 6th. I mean, you could honestly switch either of those two up, and I don't see much of a difference. Obviously, they may finish next season differently, but as for now, their value is all pretty similar. And there's just a lot of receivers right in that middle range, and I was more than happy to grab Marvin Harrison in that mix. Romadunze and Neighbors went, and let's see here. Neighbors went, where is it here? Neighbors went in round, where did he go? All the way down in round 11. And Romadunze followed shortly after that, as well as Jade Daniels, Drake May, and Caleb Williams. In that order, mind you, Caleb Williams did not go first of the 3 quarterbacks that are high on everybody's draft list for this upcoming rookie draft. Bowers did go in round 10, and there were a couple of running back dart throws as well thrown in the mix. So that'll give you an early idea just where people's heads at. I like that, to use that draft just to get a little background on that for some of my fellow league members in other dynasty leagues. And it's all around, it's just a fun, good time, and it's a great tradition. Maybe some of you should try it out. So, moving on from the Super Bowl, let's transition into the 2024 season that we're all looking forward to. And to wrap up my thoughts on the Senior Bowl, I just want to finish up on Michael Penix and where he's at. He had a great practice week, but then did not participate in the actual game, which is sort of, you could expect that to possibly become some of the norm. Somebody like Spencer Rattler needed to prove himself, and he did. He was the MVP of the game, and he's now moving up the boards a little bit. He's somebody that you could expect to get taken in probably the 2nd round of the NFL draft. And Bo Nix didn't do much. either way, in my opinion, to either raise or lower his stock. Some of the receivers showed up, and a few running backs like Ray Davis and Manuel Ali, they definitely helped their stock out as well. Now there's a big jumble of running backs, I'd say. Marshawn Lloyd was another running back from USC. He helped his stock as well. But all in all, there's a jumble of like 10 running backs right now, and I'm having a hard time figuring out how to rank them, honestly. So a lot of it will just come down to draft capital and situation for those guys. At this point, I'm not favoring necessarily one over the other. They all have their unique attributes. I think they're all NFL ready. And so they will be good parts of committees, meaning they will produce and from time to time see extreme value when there's injuries in their backfield. So they do present good value for you in your upcoming rookie drafts in rounds 2 and 3. But again, there's no heavyweights, no 3-down workhorses this year like Bijan or even a Jahmyr Gibbs style committee back. We're just going to have a lot of nice dart throws to take this year with the running back position. And in relation to that, I want to speak about a certain particular range of the first round that I see as a great buy opportunity right now, and that would be specifically picks 107, 108, and 109. Now, some of you might think 108 and 109, the cutoff's 107. All the pundits everywhere have a hard, fast line at the 107 right now. It includes the top 3 running backs, top 3 wide receivers, and Bowers. So that's where everybody's cutting it off right now at the 107. Like, go get your 107 pick in your league. Go get it now. That's where the last good player is going to be. Well, I'm telling you, from what I saw at the Senior Bowl, from where these players are projected to be taken, those 7 picks could be actually taken in the top 10 of the actual NFL draft. So what that means is there's a lot more elite talent in this 2024 NFL draft, which also means that those picks after 107 aren't that bad either. So right now I see picks 108 as 109 is and 109 is pretty juicy because like there's a tier of probably 8 or 9 players after that. 3 quarterbacks, at least 5 receivers in there. And by the time your rookie draft rolls around in May, I guarantee you, following the combine and the situations that occur from free agency, I guarantee that at least a couple of members in your league are going to really want 1 or 2 of these guys that are in this next tier. There's anybody from, say, J.J. McCarthy gets taken in the top 10 or even top 15. Michael Penix, like I said before. Bo Nix could get taken in the first round. And any of these wide receivers from Keon Coleman, Brian Thomas, Xavier Worthy, A.D. Mitchell, Troy Franklin, any of those receivers could really spike the interest of some of your league mates to the point where they want to trade up to the 108 or 109, thus making a trade now for them a value for you. So just something to think about. That's what I'm kind of looking for right now, but it doesn't necessarily mean I wouldn't trade them away either. I'm just saying don't hold too hard to that 107 line. I know it's a good barometer right now, but it doesn't mean it is tried and true. I mean, any of those top 7 guys could bust. Any of those top 7 guys could just have mediocre seasons like Bryce Young did last season. So again, remember, these are just rookies, all right? We don't know how they're going to adapt to the NFL lifestyle, the NFL playbooks. It's a totally different world for them, and they have to adapt to it. And I guarantee you some of those guys from that second tier are going to adapt well and are going to perform right away out of the gate in their rookie season. So don't be afraid to go jump after or just at least inquire about the picks 108 and 109 right now. Whoever owns them in your league may feel like they're more more available than a top 7 pick. So check it out in your league. See what you can do for them. I do have a few trades for you, as always. We're going to be talking mostly ones involving rookie picks this time. And so the first one I've got is in a 10-team SuperFlex tight end premium league. Start 10. And this one is a doozy. This one includes Mark Andrews, a 25 first, and the 104 being traded for Stefon Diggs, T. Higgins, Jake Ferguson, the 203, and a 25 third. Now, for me personally, the 104 is just too valuable in this trade to be involved with what you ended up getting on the other side of Diggs, Higgins, Ferguson, and the 203. Now, I will say that I like T. Higgins as a buy in certain situations right now. His value is pretty polarizing right now. Nobody knows where he's going to play next year, whether it'll be back with the Bengals or somewhere else as possibly the top dog on that team. So you can, I guess with Higgins, I just don't see his value dropping anywhere from where it is. I mean, even if he goes and signs with Carolina as the number 1, well, he's the number 1 now. So I don't see how his value would drop from where it is right now. It can only increase. So he is a good buy. But on the other side, you're giving up the 104, Mark Andrews, and your 25 first. I mean, there's a world where Jake Ferguson could produce equal numbers to Mark Andrews. Is it likely? Probably not. But he is younger, so I do understand that. But you're giving up your 25 first, meaning that you're putting your eggs into the 2024 season. If things go wrong, you're going to be looking to try and buy that pick back later. So I think it was just a little bit too much on the one side. The 104 is a real solid pick. I think personally, I'd be wanting more in that case. But I mean, value-wise, I can see how it comes out pretty equal. All right. Next deal I've got involving some picks of the 2024 draft. I've got this one's a big one too. This one now is in a 16-team 1 quarterback league. So mind you, 1 quarterback. So in this case, there'd be more of the top 3 picks hold a little more value in Marvin Harrison, Neighbors, and Adunze. So this one involved trading away the 105, 26 first, and the 201 for the 102. So to move up 3 spots, he threw in his 26 first and the 201. Now, if you're that one player away, this trade, I see worth it. All right. To move up to that tier, it's going to take something. All right. And even though, as I mentioned, the 108 and 109 in SuperFlex leagues, that would equate pretty much to the 105 value in a single quarterback league, I do see that as somewhat of a value. So if you're looking for extra pieces, I like that side. I also like the side if you were looking to get that superstar in the 102. So I do like both sides in this deal. This is one of those, dynasty trades that's a win-win for both teams. I just like the action. Next up, I've got a deal in a 12-team SuperFlex. This one also was the 102. Now this one I thought was a little light. Again, this one's SuperFlex, meaning the 102 is even more valuable, being that it could likely be a quarterback. 102 is either going to be the top quarterback or Marvin Harrison, probably. And this guy gave up Tajay Spears, the 111, a 26 first, and the 306 for the 102. So Spears, 111, 26 first, and the 306. And I just don't see any pieces of this that are valuable enough for me to give up the 102. If I'm going to give up the 102, I want 2 good pieces. Like, I want 2 legit starters, all right? There's got to be something. Tajay Spears, yes, he's got a lot of optimism with him, with Derrick Henry being a free agent. I understand that hype. The 111, again, is in that range where, yes, it could be a good player, but it also could be a complete bust like Jalen Reagor, right? If you're going wide receiver in that range, there is risk involved in those receivers that get taken in the late first, early second of the NFL draft, right? That's why they're not top 10 picks. Usually the receivers that get taken in the top 10 or definitely top 5, those guys are going to hit, all right? So I, on this one, definitely favor the 102. I like the package that you only had to give up. I'm going to lean towards the 102 in that one. Now, in a rebuild situation, I can understand maybe he has 5 or 6 firsts, right? And the 102 isn't something he necessarily needs because he already has the 101 and maybe the 103 or 104, so you can grab a quarterback as well. Still, so in a complete rebuild, this isn't a terrible trade. Getting rid of the 102 as long as you have your plan in place. All right. One other deal that involved picks here was one that, well, I guess this one only had the 303 and the 311 in it, but this one is more in relation to Kyle Pitts and his value. This one had Tony Pollard, Kenny Pickett, Schoonmaker, and the 303 going for Derek Carr, Kyle Pitts, and the 311. Now, this one, you could narrow it down to Pickett and Carr cancel each other out. Sure, Pickett's younger, but I think Carr actually has a more safer chance to start this year. Then the 303 and Schoonmaker with the 311, you can kind of cancel those pieces out. They're not huge. What I want to come down to is Tony Pollard for Kyle Pitts in this case. I can understand wanting Tony Pollard, but he's not somebody that I'm willing to give up for Kyle Pitts. Kyle Pitts still has that potential. I mean, I heard yesterday how Kyle Pitts is literally 2 years younger than Dalton Kincaid yet. So Kyle Pitts has 2 more years of experience in the NFL, and he's 2 years younger. So when these guys are both 28 years old, Kyle Pitts will be going into his 8th season, Kincaid only into his 4th. All right? I'm just trying to paint the picture of how much value still is out there for Kyle Pitts. Like, the potential is still there. We don't know who his quarterback's going to be yet this year. That's why I've been shouting to the heavens the buy of Kyle Pitts and Drake London right now. They have so much potential. Their floor is what you saw last season. I wouldn't be dealing Kyle Pitts away for Tony Pollard at this point. I would want a little bit more in return. Tony Pollard is a wild card going into free agency. Don't know if he'll be back with Dallas. We don't know if he'll just end up somewhere else in a committee. Whereas Kyle Pitts does possess that potential to become the tight end 1 overall right now. We aren't sure. Honestly, I don't know who is going to be the number 1 tight end next season. Will it be Kelsey? Well, at least he did say at the podium afterwards that he will be back to try and win a 3rd one in a row. And I'm telling you, I was excited to hear that. That's honestly what I was waiting for all night. But going back to the tight end room, is it going to be Kelsey? Is it going to be Laporta? Mark Andrews? Is it going to be somebody else? Maybe Dalton Kincaid steps up. Who knows at tight end? I mean, it's really hard to put a stamp on a tight end 1 right now. We will see as the offseason develops, but for now, I don't mind if you aren't able to get one of the top 5 or 6 tight ends, just wait, grab Evan Ingram or David Njoku later. They're still, along with Kyle Pitts is now in that ballpark. So just from my Crackhead League I can see that there's plenty of value to be had later at tight end. After that, I did want to just give my final thoughts on the upcoming combine, what you're going to see is the first taste of real action for the running backs. I know that some of the guys got some action at the Senior Bowl, but now you're going to actually see the underclassmen. And the running back landscape for this rookie draft is wild. I'm telling you, there are 10 running backs right now out there that could all be the first running back taken in this 2024 rookie draft. They all fit into like the second and third rounds of our rookie drafts right now. There's plenty of value there because they all should participate with their NFL teams. They're not just, end of the bench guys. They're all good talents. So watch for those guys at the combine. I'm looking forward to it. It's 2 weeks away. And then 2 weeks later, we have the start of free agency. So with that, I'll be back in a couple days for more information for you guys. And I'd like to say, all you need to do is never stop working.